Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone that's here. Thank you for those of you who came off campus for braving the cold and now the snow. And for those of you across the world who are listening over live streaming, welcome to you as well. Today we have our annual visit by an icon in opera. Thomas Hampson has sung in every major opera house in the world. He has Grammys, he has Grand Prix du Disque, and honors from various honorary doctorates from conservatories and universities. And the great news is he's also one of ours, which he's one of our board of trustees. And I get the great pleasure of working with him. He also happened to be on the search committee that brought me here, so he's a very, very smart man. Before we go, before we ask Mr. Hampson to come on stage, I wanted to say a big thanks to the Gart Family Foundation, who has made this Masterclass possible, and their great generosity to the school over the last few years is incredibly appreciated. So thank you very much. And now, Thomas Hampson.
Great. Thank you very much. That's very funny. I feel like I'm on the set of Deal No Deal, kept in the soundproof room back here and brought out. But we're not. We're in a class. Welcome. It's great to see you all. It's great to be back, even with the snow. But that's what New York does in the winter. Very cold. For you online, we welcome you to the Manhattan School of Music. Could be arguably called one of the greatest music conservatories in our country, and we're proud of that. You're going to hear why, and it's a great atmosphere. And our online service, which is now either you're watching online on the website or on the Facebook Live, which is a wonderful opportunity to expand our audiences. Manhattan started it, and it was started by one of the most enlightened people that I know in our business, in education, and certainly in digital education technologies. And she's convalescing for some rough times, and she can't be here today, but our heart and our minds and our efforts are here only to do Christian Orto proud. She's watching, so we better not mess up. Again, this is a class, and I appreciate the audience. I appreciate your attention. I'm here for these 4 or 5 wonderful young colleagues, and I don't want to get to that. We have some pretty big operatic landscape to go across today. Maybe 3 things that culminate in a 4th point. I could just have said it before. I'll try and say it really economically. When I listen, and I work as well, we're after the big picture, and that's why we exist as singers. We're there to make the big picture audible and visual. And the balance of that depends on the art form that we're in, whether that's song or opera and so forth. We get that. Well, then we go into another level of that, which I would call engineering. And we need to know our languages, we need to know the context, we need to know the period, we need to know the plot, we need to know where that poetry came from, what thoughts, so forth. Nothing comes out of isolation. It's some attempt in our literature for very, very intuitive, smart, sensitive people to capture in word, quite frankly, as a metaphor of our thoughts, something about being alive. And that inspires a composer to flesh out the stuff in between the words in a language called music. Music doesn't need words, and words doesn't need music. I personally find this whole rhetoric about prima la musica e poi le parole, or the other way around, an answer to a question that does not need to be asked. I think it is always a marriage of both. It is tone and word in our world. And then we have this third thing in our eternal triangle, which is the physicality, which quite frankly is for every musician. I would not, well, I can't anyway, but can you imagine making something beautiful, harmonic, and existential out of a box with a bunch of iron strings, much less another box smaller with another bunch of iron strings, or somebody blowing on a tube that's got holes in it, I mean, so forth and so on. Well, the singer, it's the same thing. Right? We have our bodies, and our bodies must be instantaneously at the behest of our imagination. And that's why technique is so important. The end of all is not technique. Technique is the path to the goal, which is expression, which is making audible that which has already been thought about, formed, and created. We are the representatives, if you will, which leads me to my final point. It's not about us. It is always about what we sing. And it's a glorious path, and quite interesting, quite frankly. So we're going to try and keep that thought in our foreground and see how we can add up the sums of it so that the whole thing is just bigger than all these little parts. So let's get at it. I think we know the order. I suppose I can call out. Thank you. The program is here. We'd be lovely to have Christina Roseart and Sunga Beck come out. Hello. And Christiana, since you in your life are going to sing for as many Rotary functions as anything else, maybe we just get into the practice of introducing yourself and the piece you're going to sing. It'd be great. Thank you.
Wonderful. My name is Christina Roseart, and this is my wonderful accompanist, Sunga Beck. And I will sing Es gibt ein Reich from Strauss's Ariadne auf Naxos.
Bleiben schuld geschmückt und ganz allein. Du wirst mich befreien, wer soll mir mich geben? Dies Lust in dir Leben, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, dies Lust in dir Leben, du nimm es von mir, dies Lust in dir Leben, du nimm es von mir, und ich werde dich nicht ganz verlieren, bei dir wird Ariadne sein. Bei dir wird
Wow. Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much. Good luck. Now, look, a couple of thoughts just to make your life easier, first and
Okay.
foremost, right? The principal difference, you've heard me say this if you've ever heard a class that we've done here, the principal difference between singing and speaking is that when we speak, we separate vowels with consonants, literally, and what consonants at what speed determines the language. And ahs and ahs and ahs and ah. But if it's got this before it and that after it, Vater, Arme, was auch immer das heißt, it doesn't really matter. When we sing, we bind the vowels, that's why we call it legato, not with energy. We literally bind vowel to vowel because every vowel you sing has every other vowel vibrating in it. And we sing, i.e. bind all of those vowels, we sing the consonants. And at that moment they become more like musical elements. And we sing them in the same way that they function as their language, right? We sing and speak in two different parts of our brain. That's what's really quite fascinating about it all. But the point of this is that the voice and the expression of who you are, whether it's Gretchen am Spinnrad or Ariadne on a rock, is essentially transported in the musical language and the seamlessness of vowel to vowel with emulating consonants that you're binding that makes us know it's German and so forth and so on. But the singing process, the technical process, and that's what I mean about stuff that's going to make you tired. Right now, there's just too much text.
Okay.
I need to know why it's written.
Okay.
I don't need to know how it was written. I don't even need to be able to go home and go, I have a Reich and stand im. What's the that's not what singing's all about, right? Mm-hmm. And this can make you tired. You've got the notes. You've got a wonderful start on your technique. You told me your age earlier. This is, fine. You're in great shape. This is not about being old or young. This is about whether it's time to sing this sort of thing. But you will get tired if we don't straighten out a couple of things like this, right? Mm-hmm. What I would say to you that as impressive as it is, we need to get out of the college mode and into the theater mode.
Okay.
And in the theater mode, we let people listen to what we're thinking. We let people experience what we're experiencing in a language called music that is inspired from a text source called libretto. We do not transport at a louder decibel words to people sitting out there. Mm-hmm. That's not what we do as opera singers. That is harmful and wrong. Now that I'm 60, I get to say whatever I want, right? So anybody that tells you that's what you're doing, send them to me, because it's not wrong. Voices do not project. Looking for a projecting voice is exactly the wrong thing to look for. It's the most irritating thing I can hear of, other than somebody saying you're not supporting and sweat's running down your face. It's usually people who don't know what that means. And we'll get to that. That's a very simple concept. And I think it will help just your mind a little bit. Voices resonate. There's a principal sound just like a violin. You stroke a violin. I've never seen Van Gerhoff come into Avery Fisher Hall or now David Geffen Hall and say, oh, I've got the Dvorak, I've just a nice mellow piece, but I've got that high A, I hope it's the balcony. It's complete nonsense. He may very well say, I'm in a fuller auditorium, I need to keep that bow steady on my string. That's something else, versus an Adrian Arsht Hall, which maybe he has more flexibility to get the sound of the string being vibrated. These are the kinds of decisions we can make as well. In your singing, 3 things. I feel like you're still in the mode of, I've learned it, I've got it, I've processed it, I'm going to give it back, and I hope it's right.
Okay.
That is so boring, I cannot tell you what to do.
I'm
right?
working on it.
We're not going to do that anymore, right? The other thing is, I think in you're terribly preoccupied. Do you speak German?
Not
If you're going to sing this
I'm learning
repertoire,
German
good
this
for
summer.
you. If
Yeah.
you're going to sing this repertoire operatically, or anyway, if you're going to sing a lot in German, if you ever have an ambition of singing this repertoire, if you think that's what this repertoire is, you cannot learn this language fast enough, because there is no diction specialist on the face of the planet that can imbue you with the understanding of a language. That goes, by the way, for all 14 languages that I've been privileged to sing in over my career. Know how the language works. Diction is engineering, like the faucet that turns on the water. But it's the quality of water from its source to its drinking that it's all about. Plumbing is a way to get there. Diction classes are plumbing. Fantastically important. I do not criticize that. That's not my point. But it must give us the entrance into language and expression. I miss it. That's what I mean by too many words,
Okay.
right? The third thing is, and very simple to correct, support, folks, you're all singers here. I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to singers. Support is simple, dead simple. It's a very simple equation. We athletically, consciously keep the muscles of inhalation in a prepared state while we obviously exhale in our singing. But I promise you, especially in this big rep and so forth, you know, and I've been around some pretty mighty sopranos in my day and some famous names, and that's not about that, but I've seen this work. I've seen these ladies go there, and it's here. It's here, especially this monologue, you know. It's for her.
Yeah.
You know, she goes off, and her imagination just bristles. It's why Ariadne, it's called Ariadne auf Naxos, right? And this is what we have to have. And I promise you, physically, the yoga, physical Pilates discipline of what we do makes the aesthetic hearable. That's the balance between the two. And I just think you spend too much energy chasing words, and ergo too many stopped consonants, which stops the flow of your voice, as impressive as it is, because we're taking breath and more of a tube of toothpaste rather than a cylinder that respects its circumference. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I have a feeling that a lot of things are going to change. Let's just start it again. Darling, nothing in Strauss, much less anybody else, but especially Strauss, is ever shorter than a 4-bar phrase. And all of Strauss's, Richard Strauss's 4-bar phrases, I mean, I know you're probably a collaborative pianist and so forth. When you play this kind of score, you need to be hearing the whole orchestra in your head. And I promise you, none of it is like this. Strauss's orchestras are about the construction of 12 and 24-bar phrases. You know, where are you going? Usually, you can follow the breadcrumbs of the German language. You know, go to the verb, follow the money, right? And it is never inside of a 4-bar phrase, shorter than a 4-bar phrase, right? So just keep us moving. Don't accompany her in this repertoire. If it was Gretchen, it'd be something else, right? So we're going to keep this breathing thing. I don't care if 2 people or 20,000 people are sitting out there. The energy of what we do is them wanting to be in our world.
Got it.
Never come out on stage looking for approval.
Okay.
It's up to you, right? Try it again. What would you say is the, sorry, what would you say is the, just in that simple theme, what would you say is the principal motor of the phrase? Right hand or left hand? What did I answer? Right hand or left hand? Which do you think is more important? What do you think is the motor of where we're going? As you look at the first 2 bars and you know where you want to be in 12 bars, what's going to take you there? The harmonic rhythm. Pay attention to that. And that's going to be the bases, and they don't look at anybody very much. They just kind of play and, right? Keep that bum, bum, da-dum. This motive, bum, da-dum, yum, da-dum, is what she's talking about. And it's a curious motive for such a lyric piece, right? Be careful. Okay, now, great. She's going to do that much better. Doesn't mean louder. It just means the motion goes through, right? It's still reflective. You're also just in your own world. If you would breathe sooner, I get asked all the time, do I breathe in my nose or my mouth? The answer is yes. I never, seriously, don't breathe in both. But what I'm looking for when I take a breath, especially when I have time to take a breath, is that enlivening, cool spot in the nasal pharynx, right? Which a very, very wonderful pedagogue at the turn of the century who sang a lot with Gustav Mahler said the nasal pharynx, that the NG place where that buzz is, that nasal pharynx is like for a singer what a bow is to a violinist. Oh, that's a wonderful thought. And if we think that everything is actually an up bow, skip time, and the voice will even out, and the vibrato is going to come, and it won't be skip. That's CNN.
Okay.
What a paralyzing thought. Doing great. Good. As you get, sorry, good. This is what we want to start with. Now we feel like we're going to go somewhere. That foreboding theme is very important for us to plant. Whoops, she's got something to say. We know there's going to be another 3 minutes, right? At least. Right. Now, be careful about the German language. Sing your vowels. I want to encourage you 2 things. One, the mute vowel, the schwa of the German language, which is like wo alles rein ist, hat auch ein Namen, Namen. You're pretty good on that, but for when the schwa is open, you get a little bit hung up. Bo te te. It's the And the nice thing about that is all the schwa vowel, it's that international phonetic alphabet symbol, this one, right? Which is actually the top of every voice. So every time you have a schwa, this neutrality, in the middle of a word, or at the end of the word, in the top of the voice, or whatever else, it's your anchor to know, to check that you're staying tall in your voice. Bo te, bo, and it's bo te. It's just bo. It's neutral. Bo te, right?
Yes.
The diphthongs in German are not as difficult as you think they are. They're all based in open vowels. The vowel is wo alles ra, ha, ha. And to get the N, you're probably going to have to go ein, but it's an ah vowel. But what we don't want to hear is rein, rein, mein, wein, ah. Keep the ah and the o, right?
Okay.
Now, one last thought to find this thing, because we could spend a lot of time trying to find this bouncy thing. Breathe earlier, right? And in singing, we should look for the commonality in the vowels. In speaking, we will look for the distinction of the vowel. And we sing as if, to make it understandable, but in singing, you want to make sure that that ah is buzzing into the N, is buzzing into the O, right? Is the first phrase, very simple. Right? Should we try one more time? Just think of that.
Okay.
Just let one melt into the other. It takes a little bit of determination, preparation, hear it, breathe into that.
Okay.
One more time. good thing. Be sure that you, when you stop a phrase, that you pick up the next phrase right where you left off.
Okay.
Don't reinvent yourself. That makes you tired. Not keeping the vowels vibrating in the commonality of each other makes you tired. What does this word Totenreich mean to you as Ariadne? Hier
It's,
ist nichts rein, hier kam es alles zu allem. Punkt. Es gibt ein Reich, wo alles rein ist. Doppelpunkt. Es hat auch einen Namen. Noch einmal Doppelpunkt. Totenreich.
it's
What's the dynamic marking under Totenreich?
piano,
2 P's,
probably.
meaning pianissimo.
Yeah.
I got some bad news for you and some good news for you. You're essentially right. Good news. Bad news, you had to guess. And bad news, you need to know every dynamic
Yes.
marking and its relationship to the text through your whole score, so that anybody at any time says, what's the dynamic marking under that phrase?
Pianismo.
You know, and it's not because of the athletic attitude of to know that. It informs us to the inside of why that phrase is. So you've now sung it twice, rather full voice because you're preoccupied with that low A
Okay.
flat, right? Don't be. And let it be in the resonance of the high. It's not about going into the cellar.
Okay.
I personally like to say to women, especially young women, you can open the doors to that cellar. Just don't go down the steps,
Okay.
right? You don't want to go, Totenreich. You hear that all the time on stages today. And it's just wrong. Wagner even wrote about it. It drove him nuts, the misuse of the women's breast voice,
Okay.
chest voice, right? Totenreich. Look for the similarity of the oh, and let it just drop and be what it is.
Okay.
There's nothing under there. Totenreich. Außer Totenreich now we're going to get lifted up. Du da hier ist's.
Yes.
Yeah? Play with our minds, right?
Okay.
Let's start with Es hat auch einen Namen.
Okay.
Es hat auch einen Namen. Almost. No, I was right. Thank you.
Es
Yeah,
hat
hey, hear it? And it's not going to be Es hat. It's going to be this. It's going to be Es hat.
Okay.
Es hat
Thank you.
auch einen Namen.
Yeah. One more time. Just try one. Es hat auch einen Namen. Like you're telling us a spooky story. And you don't want to quite tell us this because I got a punchline.
Okay.
All you children out there in blankets.
Got it. Okay.
Es hat auch
It's such a difference if you really hear it and breathe into it and call it and have that inhaling feeling with it. It's just, one is, it's hot, and that's information. We don't deal in information
Okay.
in what we do. Hear it, breathe into it.
Es hat auch einen Namen. Totenreich.
Yeah, good start. Let's have a little bit more sort of surprise on the word Toten.
Okay.
In the German language, we get to explode those.
Okay.
And I've heard so many sopranos before, and everybody's very concerned that everybody's going to even know what the hell they said. So you get a lot of spit going out. Totenreich. You know,
Watch out,
we don't
guys.
exactly. So get your
Wet zone.
just hold your programs up, right? Right. But the point is to make sure that the O is vibrating.
Okay.
And stay there and just drop the ah into it. Totenreich. Let the N be your guide,
Okay.
right?
Just on that.
In
part
fact, you
where
know
the
what?
same-
Sing wants to do it. Just go Totenreich and keep it right on the same level.
Okay. Just
Try
sing it
try
all
that.
in one- okay.
Try that.
To-
No, don't gulp. Even when you're working, be sure and breathe into what you're going to sing.
Totenreich.
Yeah. Now do you hear how the F falls out flat like this? It goes Totenreich. Keep the E in there. Totenreich.
Totenreich.
Now the way it's written, exactly like that.
Okay.
Let the N be your best friend. Totenreich. Pianissimo.
Totenreich.
Do you hear how the 10 of the word is a little bit in a different resonance
Yeah.
than both the others?
Yeah.
Work on that.
Okay.
Get them piled up together because that wears you out. That makes you tired, right? And let's go on. In fact, no, let's go on to, we don't have so much time. I think let's go to the pretty bit. Can we go to measure 70? Du wirst mich befragen. And a melisma like that in your repertoire and your kind of voice is a little different. It's not coloratura.
Exactly.
It's a melodic blooming of an expression, which in this case, du wirst mein befreien. Befreien means the one who frees me, right? And that's what all that befreien, right? And we have to, and all you want to do is, that image of the water that goes in the water, goes in the water, that goes in the water, that goes in the water, and it's like a tube of water inside of water. Have you ever seen something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's what that is. So just keep that vowel vibrating in the or whatever it is, okay?
Okay.
2 measures. Dee-dum-da-dee.
Du wirst mich
So,
befragen.
just to make my point, when you look at those 2 bars and you see the F in the right hand, right? Give me that lower harmony. That's not where we're driving anymore. But you know that F in the right hand is going to the high F 3 bars later. And take me there. And she'll come in.
Du wirst mich befragen.
There's not an orchestra in the world that's going to play it like that. You slow down to bring her in. It's her problem. You're the orchestra. You've got 85 people sawing and hammering away like hell on one of Strauss's really most famous, da 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 dee da da ya da. You're late. That's what you're going to hear from the pit. Where are you, darling? Or a great conductor is going to go, and he's going to love that. And he's just going to hold his hand up because it's you. Be free. Fly. Right? This is what you need to work on. One more time. Breathe.
Du wirst mich befragen. Ihr sollt mir mich
So,
geben.
at the top of that phrase, it sounds to me like you think you've reached the top of the phrase. And that just sounds flat to me. Not
Oh,
flat
okay.
pitch-wise, it sounds like another vowel.
Okay.
And I want to just keep hearing it. It was beautiful going up the scale.
Okay.
What you all have to know is I do not believe, although I understand completely, believe me, trust me, I understand the word passaggio, where it came from, what it means, its etymology, everything. I just don't believe in it as a concept of understanding how our voices function. We do not sing in layers and plateaus. It's an elastic process, first and foremost from your imagination, telling your body what energy it needs. And it's no more than stretching back and forth here and vibrating. It's a completely different process. And I think my voice is cut into pieces that I've got to get up through that. The question of going through or adjusting is, are you going up or down on your scale? Is it in a place where you need to know whether you're going up from something and coming back down, or whether you're bringing something from below because you're going up. You just need to know the direction of it.
Okay.
And it's a fine adjustment of what I love Oren Brown calls the heavy, and in his reading, he was a very, very famous pedagogue here in New York many years ago, long since dead, right? The heavy and lighter adjustment. This I get, but that to me sounds like the elasticity of breath rather than plateaus of achievement, right? So don't feel like you've got to get up to that A natural and, oh, I made it. I've gotten up the steps. The steps are glorious. Let it go on as if that A natural was actually going to become a high C,
Okay.
right? One more time.
Du wirst mich befreien. Ihr sollt mir mich geben. Dies Last in dem Leben, du nimm es von mir.
Okay, now, there are 4 dynamic markings in this phrase we just sang.
Okay.
Do you know where they are
Yes.
and what they are?
And I did not do them.
No, do you know them? The thing is, it's so impressive and it's wonderful, and it's probably going to get you a job, and it might even have some producer incredibly happy that they have an Ariadne that can, yada, 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 yada. But actually, I think this role and all of music meant more to Mr. Strauss than we have the audacity to produce today. I believe opera is a musical art form in a theatrical context. The language I work in all night is a musical language. For a singer, in my opinion, the breath that you take as a singer is not yet heard thought in a language called music. That's where I exist, and you get me for 2 hours, and people can like it or not like it and so forth, but there's a health of it. And all these incidental markings, there is a difference between forte and mezzo forte. I think you're singing fortissimo. Now, because I think there's more in the bucket than this, right? So give us that. But I think when you look at dynamic markings, it's not about singing the dynamic markings, it's about asking yourself. And Strauss is very singer-friendly, at least to sopranos. His wife would have killed him. You're looking at 3-bar preparation. The last of the 4-bar is a crescendo, right? That goes back to the forte. Do is forte. Befrei is a mezzo forte with a crescendo going back to Seine mich geben, which is a wonderful idea, right? The freedom that I have because of you is because you've given it to me. Dies lastende Leben, this very dead, very heavy and irritating Leben. You take it away, you powerful one, you loving one, take that from me. And then we have the forte on this orchestra. Ja, da, 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 du lastende Leben is forte, then a diminuendo into a piano at the end of, oh my goodness, what do we have? 3 sets of 4 bars. Welcome to the world of Strauss. And you must study exactly like that. A cribbish detail to Strauss, born of Wagner, dreamed of from Weber. And the muse is Schubert, right? It's the same stuff, just more notes, right? One more time.
Okay.
Give me the content and of that phrase. Why she so speaks of such profound, at this point, platonic love.
Okay.
Du wirst mich befreien, soll mir mich geben, dies lastende Leben, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, dies lastende Leben,
Now you started. We have a little bit of transition here. Mit großer Steigerung. Okay, the emotion is getting very heavy, but again, he pulls you back. Du nimm es von mir, dies lachende Leben. Du nimm es von mir. It's interesting that in the crescendo, the apex of the phrase is on mir. Typical soprano. An dich werde ich mich ganz verlieren, bei dir wird Ariadne sein. She loves him, she respects the love she's getting, all that, but it's all about her epiphany of self-awareness, right? But we need to take that ride. One more time, pace yourself a little bit. Now, again, as you're doing this, I cannot beg you enough to pay attention that it's vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel.
Okay.
Du wirst mich befreien, soll mir mich geben, dies lastende Leben, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, du nimm es von mir, dies lastende Leben.
What would help is that we've actually got him now growing phrase of du nimm es von mir, dies lastende Leben. It would be nice, there's no comma there. It'd be nice if we had the extended du, da 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 di, da da di, da 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 da, right? And then we get the payoff. Du nimmst es von mir, Komma, dies lastende Leben, Komma, du nimmst es von mir, in deinen Armen werden immer Ariadne werden.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You need to pay us. Pay us. One last time,
Okay.
we got to stop. Just before Du nimmst von mir, measure 71. And look at our dum bum has now become yum dum da dum, yum dum dum dum. Right.
Is that it? Okay. Now I know where we're at. Okay.
Du nimmst von mir, du nimmst von mir dies lustende Leben, du nimmst von mir dies lustende Leben, du nimmst von mir und ich will.
Wonderful. Just at the top of your voice, and our ear teachers here, be very careful. The top of every voice is that funny symbol in international phonetic alphabet that looks like a cowboy hat. It's actually not a cowboy hat. It's the asp of a cathedral. Right? And a cathedral has this wonderful dome in the middle, which everybody loves to sing in, right?
Yeah.
And that's the ah. And the ah is from whee, right? And that's what we sing in everybody's top of their voice. That's where vowel modification comes from. You do not sing a pure I or a or a or o at the top of your voice, much less going into it. You must be looking for the house of resonance in which your thought of the word mir will take us.
Okay.
Right? But if you go mir, you're going to. And also we saw it. You know, we saw this go on, right? So you need to work that up. Right? We have to stop. I'd love to go for an hour and a half with you. Good stuff.
Thank you
Good
so
stuff.
much.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done. Big phrases. So, hello, Laureano. Good. You are who and what will you sing?
My name is Laureano Quant, and I will sing Se vuol ballare by Mozart
From what opera?
from Le Nozze di Figaro.
All useful information.
Bravo signor padrone, ora incomincio a capire il mistero e a veder schietto tutto il vostro progetto. A Londra è vero, voi ministro, io corriero e la Susanna segreta ambasciatrice. Non sarà, non sarà, Figaro il dice. Se vuol ballare, signor continuo, se vuol ballare, signor continuo, il chitarrino le suonerò, il chitarrino le suonerò, sì, le suonerò, sì, le suonerò. Se vuol venire nella mia scuola la capriola l'insegnerò. Se vuol venire nella mia scuola la capriola l'insegnerò, sì, l'insegnerò, sì, l'insegnerò. Saprò, 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 ma piano, 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 piano. E ogni arcano dissimula scoprir potrò. L'arte schermendo, l'arte adoprando, dico pungendo, di là scherzando, tutte le macchine rovescerò. L'arte schermendo, l'arte adoprando, dico pungendo, di là scherzando, tutte le macchine rovescerò, tutte le macchine rovescerò, tutte le macchine rovescerò. Se vuol ballare, signor continuo, se vuol ballare, signor continuo, il chitarrino le suonerò, il chitarrino le suonerò, sì, le suonerò, sì, le suonerò.
Okay, look, in the interest of time, I think we'll let the recitative sit. It's just, as you guys are working on it, the thing about accompagnato recitativi, which was quite inventive in Schubert's time and rather perfect. In my opinion, La Nozze di Figaro is the perfect Mozart opera. Maybe not the most exciting for people, but it's just perfect. It's just constructed, and there it is, and that's fine. But be careful that we hear the thoughts go through whatever is happening. But allo signore contonia ora incomincio a chi a caprire mistero aridam tam ta dot. Some of them have dots here and some of them don't. In general, folks, as you're looking at anything, poetry or libretto, look for the commas. It's a pretty good indication of where you're going. Just look at the sentence structure. Quite frankly, we all need to be learning our texts, and that's not an admonition, it's actually what you do. We learn our text separate from music. Then the first layer for me is actually the rhythm. The diapason is probably going to take care of itself, you know, a little bit. Sight reading words and music at the same time is a wonderful exercise to get to know a lot of music and very efficient for different jobs you can have. And I think you should all have wonderful ear training. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. But in fact, learning a piece of music is a lot of left side brain stuff. And you slowly but surely, like a Star Trek, beam me up, move it over to the right side, right? And you probably can't do that until it's ready to cook, right? So you need to go back here and figure out who's saying what, and are these are they cadential to the previous thought, or are they propelling us into the next bit? And then your thoughts can be, it's the silence of your thoughts, especially Figaro, who is incredibly clever, and he's always thinking 3 paces in front of everybody, and sure as hell in front of the Count. That's one of the fun things about the Count. He's just not the sharpest knife in the drawer. That's just all there is to it, right? And that makes his born to write even more ridiculous, and ergo it's a comedy. Never mind. But let's go to the opera. Maybe the last thing, Hey la Susanna, and don't, you know, everybody sings it that way, and you've learned it properly. In Corriero, Hey la Susanna, or Hey la Susanna. We have to know what Susanna means to you when you say that. We need to know always what you're thinking and what it means to you, but don't do dynamic markings because either they're written or you've learned them. They're only feeble, impotent attempts of dead people, mostly. And thank God we're going to hear somebody from some live people as well. What do you leave a composer to do? He wants to, you know, here's where my heart and mind were at when I wrote these dots and lines. You know, I mean, it's a pretty tough way to communicate, right?
Yeah.
So why? Okay, let's start with Il Londra Vero Ministero Corriero alla Susanna. Yeah, wait, la Susanna. Oh no, play at measure 46. Ba da da dum bum ba da da dum bum 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 bum. Continual. Bum 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 bum.
A Londra è vero,
Question mark.
voi ministro, io corriero, e la Susanna.
And here is why you sing the aria. Ah, Susanna. Ah, that's why you're taking her to London. You silly. Oh, fine. I'm going with her. I'm her husband. I'm also your manservant. I'll play the games. I'll be your pet monkey. Just try and get it past me. Just even think about it. I am so far ahead of you, you have no idea. Hey, la Susanna. And what's the next thing he says? Segreta ambasciatrice non sarà, Figaro il dice. And how you say that can be loud or soft or whatever. We understand Figaro il dice. And we know he will. If you will have me dance, se vuol ballare, signor Contino. Contino has a bit of a,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we need to hear that. You don't need to do anything.
Okay.
You don't need to do a thing. There's nothing you can do while singing that means more than what you're singing and knowing why you're singing it. I love regie. I've been in all sorts. It's not about regie or not regie. It's about understanding motivation to both, right?
Okay.
Se vuol ballare, signor Contino. It's all right there in that phrase. That's the genius of greatest of music and dramaturgie, Mozart. Good. Give me the recitative. E Londra è vero?
A Londra è vero, voi ministro,
What?
io corriero, e la Susanna,
You think she's gonna be?
segreta ambasciatrice.
Now, right there, what you just did physically, if I can just talk technically here a minute. Guys, girls, boys, women, countrymen, countrywomen, give me your ears. All right. This thing that we see a lot, especially here in America, right, is really bad for you, right? Physically, your schädel, your head, your skull, is tied to the top of your shoulders or anchored with essentially a system of muscles called the occipital muscles. And they come right down to the scalenes and so on. And they keep the equipoise of your rather bowling ball substance on top of your shoulders, right? And on that here, in this muscle system, and that's why we don't raise the shoulders, and underneath is all the ribs are going to do. And inside of this wonderful thing is a thing called the larynx, right? Which is where your voice is, right? It's not attached to anything. And that's what I think we should never forget as singers. It's not attached to anything, it's suspended. Which means that any action of any other muscle could very well have an action or a causal effect on the other muscles. If you do this and jerk on those occipitals of your skull, you are banging against the muscles that are holding your rather delicate instrument that's going to feed your family for the rest of your life, right? So why would you do that as a singer? Subconsciously, in America, where we sing a lot of languages that our publics don't necessarily know, we want to make sure they understand that that phrase was actually very important. It could also be a subconscious reaction because Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and every other one of them say, well, shit happened in the world today. Very bad, and it's colder than hell in Chicago, as one can imagine. I mean, right? We don't want to do that.
Okay.
My concern is physical. I cannot tell you all how fundamentally harmful this is in song, in opera, and anything. But to get in the habit of articulating what you want to say with this is just physically against everything you want to do as a singer. Keep that verticality and the flow going.
Okay.
Don't interrupt it and don't bang on the back of your throat, right? So when you want to say something, get taller. If it's about being, I'm going to knock your head off, then say, I'm going to knock your head off, which would be better articulation anyway.
Okay.
Right, Ermaine?
Yes.
One more time, just the last part. E la Susanna. And I personally am allergic to appoggiaturas from below, which have become quite modern. I think that the harmony takes care of itself. Be very careful that we don't get on the high seas of appoggiaturiesi, you know? E la Susanna. It should live in something unique to everything else you've been singing so we get the specialness of the expression. Just appoggiatura because somebody thinks that's a stylistic question is for me an irrelevant decision. It must have a meaning because it is the language of music. Otherwise, it's just mathematics. And I don't sing mathematics, right? So you decide. E la Susanna, e la Susanna.
Okay. Let's try.
E la Susanna.
Yeah. Hear it, breathe exactly into what you're going to say, just like you would a sentence.
E la Susanna.
Again, when you breathe, actually activate and feel, oh, my ribs are out, I'm going to feel full of breath, I'm going to choose to make E la Susanna, e la Susanna. Whatever you want to do with that, but what it isn't is take a breath in and go, e la, that's speaking. E la Susanna, e la Susanna. You hear the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, try.
E la Susanna, segreta ambasciatrice, non sarà, Figaro il dice.
Bravo. Now I'm afraid.
Se vuol ballare, signor continuo, se vuol ballare, signor continuo.
Now, the gesture you would want to do, but you would be put in jail if you did, is se vuol ballare, signor continuo. Right? This is what's in your mind.
Yeah.
Right? At your time as Figaro, you did that. Number one, you'd be fired. Two, you'd be in jail, and it'd be bad news. Right? But that's why you sing it.
Yes.
That's why you say it. And you say it ever so politely, reverentially. Say, well, of course, my dear Count. Of course, he's not there, but you're addressing him. I'll do anything. I'm your dumb monkey because that's what you want me to be. But guess what? I'm not your dumb monkey. Not over my goddamn dead body, is what he's actually thinking.
Okay.
Right? One more time. Se vuol ballare. Sing the vowels. Just sing through the consonants. Se vuol ballare. Se vuol ballare. It's too much work.
Okay.
Se vuol ballare, signor continuo, se vuol ballare, signor continuo,
Lift.
il chitarrino le suonerò.
Yeah. What's the phrase? Dee-da-da-dee-da. What are the words?
Il chitarrino le suonerò.
Il chitarrino. What's the next word?
Le suonerò.
Le suonerò. Ya-da-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da. Just stay in the same resonance.
Okay.
How old are you?
25.
Fantastic. Now's the time. Right there. Il chitarrino.
Il chitarrino le suonerò.
Yeah, the swan doesn't vibrate. Il chitarrino e suonerò. It can be as beautiful as you want to sing it. It's all very sarcastic. If we see it in your eyes, if you hear it in your voice, that I'll do what you tell me to do, but I'm so all over your game. You are just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, no. Right? One more time. Just there. Il chitarrino.
Il chitarrino le suonerò. Il chitarrino le
Here's where you need it. It's 25 is now your time to go. The same thing I said to your colleague. You have to rebuild your body. Pick up where you left off. I didn't change anything. I want to sing right where I stopped singing the previous phrase and keep it. And the most important thing is, incredibly important that you keep every vowel from every other vowel vibrating in with it. You want to separate, especially Italian language, but that the consonants must be on the same level as the vowel. Il chitarrino le suonerò. It's all over the place. I want consonants and vowels in the same thing. Think of the vowels, the bottom of the vowel is the floor of your mouth, and all of the energy and air goes up from there. Try that.
Okay.
Il chitarrino le suonerò.
One more time. And literally, il chitarrino. You see how much lift I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
It's not a bad idea.
All right.
And keep the breath under it. Right now you're communicating to me pitch and words. And I want singing, right? You have a beautiful voice, right? But it's just sitting on where you are anyway. I want to hear it. I want to hear you sing,
Okay.
right?
Il chitarrino le suonerò.
Keep it going.
Il chitarrino le suonerò, sì, le suonerò, sì, le suonerò.
Legato.
Se vuoi venire nella mia scuola, la capriola le insegnerò. Se vuoi venire...
Excuse me. That's excellent. That's your Rosetta Stone. That's every aria and everything in everybody's voice has. I should have said it before. This is your Rosetta Stone. Not just because it's louder and it's a more friendly part of your voice, but all the vibrations were in the same place, what I call the house of resonance. We learn resonance by understanding how different vowels function. But real singing is when the resonance is proper and waiting to react to whatever vowel is going to be vibrating, right? We don't keep recreating the presence of the sound, that constant I'm talking about, right? But this was, is that where we were?
Right before that.
Right before the capriosa insegnerò. No, you start se vuol venire. And what was nice was se vuol venire, se vuol venire. Right? Wonderful. Go back to la capriola.
La capriola le insegnerò.
That's going to be, I can hear it already. The first note is going to be se. If you go ra, 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 le segnerò, se, vuol venire. Right?
Okay. From where?
Same thing.
La capriola.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. Really try and get the la in the same resonating house. La capriola. That's information. That's really boring. La capriola.
La capriola le insegnerò. Se vuol venire nella mia scuola.
Solo forte, non fortissimo. Se vuol venire. Right?
Okay.
It's just forte. It's not fortissimo. It's not everything you got in the basket. You don't need it in this one.
Okay.
Right? And you've got 4 hours of a lot of singing in front of you. Right? Go ahead, one more time. Se vuol venire. Just hear it. De, 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 le, 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 me, me, me. Probably me, the M. Me, just go. Me, 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 me. Now, me, se vuol.
Se vuol.
Do you hear how much higher the resonance
Yeah,
is?
it's a little bit higher.
M is a good portal into the higher resonances. N is a good portal into the middle resonances, and is a good portal into the lower resonances. That's not bad. That's not from me. That's from Lucy Manen, the teacher of Kiri Takanawa. Go ahead. Se vuol venire. Me, 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 me.
Se vuol venire
Bravo.
nella mia scuola.
Same thing.
La capriola l'insegnerò, sì, l'insegnerò, sì, l'insegnerò. Saprò, 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 saprò.
What does the word saprò mean?
I'll know.
Huh?
I'll know.
I'll know. Future tense, but it's that. And we say it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. What does that mean? What does he know?
Huh?
What does he know?
He's trying to figure out what is his.
He's not figuring out shit. He knows. What does he know? What does he know?
I mean that the count is not going to
He's not telling the truth, and his motives are what?
just to be with Susanna.
What does it mean with Susanna? What does that mean? He wants to
well,
go walking the park with her?
No, he wants to have sex with her.
He wants to bed Susanna.
Yeah.
Another man wants your betrothed woman. Another man happens to be the feudal lord of the house. He's not an employer. This is not a Trump Tower analogy here. I don't mean Trump. I'm sorry. I've used that phrase before. This story of La Noce di Figaro is not about an employer who wants to sleep with an employer's wife. That is too banal. It's got too many, what drives me crazy, I see you sitting here, Donna, Beaumarchais, the author of this story, spent 11 years of his life, 11 years. Think about how old you are. Think about how old I am. Think about how old anybody is. Where were you 11 years ago? Where were you 11 years ago? 11, not in consecutive order. a total of 11 years of his life in jail for writing his thoughts. This is La Nozze di Figaro. We must always ask ourselves what this is about. This cliche bullshit that we have to update all this nonsense because we won't understand it, and this becomes a vulgar story of deceit and betting. It's just not what La Nozze is about. This is more fundamental. This is apes in the forest stuff, right? This is animal stuff. You know, mine, no, right? All the other stuff is kind of a silly, aggravating context, right? But we need to know where that sopro, this phrasing, these 8 bars are the most important thing you sing in the whole damn aria. Because it unleashes the rest of the opera. Because it's a dog and cat story from this moment forward. Between the dog, Figaro, the good dog in this sense, right? Mm-hmm. And the wily, dumbass cat, the count in this side, right?
Okay.
And that's what, so we need to hear, Signor, si, I will not be taught. I will be taught. I get it. You're making me smart everything I have to do for you, you ass. Yeah? But saprò, signor, continuo. Right? This is what we have to have inside of you all the time.
Okay.
This pent-up anger of the normal man living under constraints politically and socially that are unnatural to the human condition. That is the essence of the mature Mozart operas. In that sense, if I may beg you to believe me, right?
Okay.
We have to hear it. This is elemental to who we are as human beings. Right? One more time. Le signoro si, le signoro. The two le signoro si. Le signoro si. You don't have to sing them so loud. They just have to be si. Si. Capito? Si.
Le insegnerò sì, le insegnerò sì, le insegnerò. Saprò, 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 ma piano, 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 piano.
Okay, why does he say piano there? Whose piano? Slow down, be quiet, settle down. Is he talking to himself or the cat? He's obviously alone.
No, myself.
Okay, well then obviously you've gained up such a head of speed of the sapro, sapro, sapros. And by the way, I think the phrase is more interesting. Ba, daga, daga, daga. And the downbeat is not piano. The bar becomes a decrescendo piano. Ba, it's like a vibration of his emotion. Ba, daga, 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 ba, daga, 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 rather than ba, daga, 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 right? Ask yourself why. It doesn't make any sense. It's not a musical phrase. Da, daga, 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 da, daga, 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 daga. And he's going sopro, sopro, sopro. Smoke's coming out of his ears. And ma piano, burro, Parla con me. Come? Sì. Adesso. Se vuol ballare, signor continuo. I can do this. I can keep my shit together. I can. I'll take my shot. I love it. I was at Hamilton last night. Wow! All right? Want to try one more time?
Okay.
Okay. Then we're going to quit.
From ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Le insegnerò sì, le insegnerò sì, le insegnerò.
1,
Saprò,
2,
saprò,
quiet.
saprò,
Now,
saprò,
fuming!
saprò, ma piano. Piano, 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 piano.
Yeah, and that should be ma piano, which is gorgeous, and then just stay there. Piano, 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 piano. Ay, 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 ay. Piano, piano, piano. Piano, piano, piano sounds like you're selling something.
Okay.
Take these elements that we've worked on. It's just the same thing through. Give yourself, all of you, take this advice. Find the Rosetta Stone. Something in everything you sing works. If there's nothing that works, you probably shouldn't sing it at that moment. There's got to be something where make that your Rosetta Stone. We've had vocal Rosetta Stone here. I haven't quite gotten you to that aha moment of why yet with Figaro. I want to do that. You know, he's more he's incredibly intelligent, and he's incredibly, he's when he says something, it's an echo of what he's already thought a minute ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
That's a good way to do it. And when he says something, especially the count, it's like playing chess. He already knows where his pieces are going, and he's sending them into checkmate all the time. That's what just sends the count completely up, right? All night long, right?
Yeah.
It's a good start. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh dear. The train to New Jersey has just come in. I'm not offended. Go ahead. It's fine. I'm good. Let's go. I understand. Where did we go? Questions of a serious nature? Anything sticking in your craw? Come at me. Right. All right, fine. Good. Oh my God. Who are you?
Hello, I am Shalane Hughes, and I will be singing The Lake Isle of Innisfree by Ben Moore.
Fantastic. Could
And
I
this
just
is
have
my
the title one
accompanist.
more time, a little bit
Tong
more?
Yao Li.
We probably have never heard of this.
Yes.
We could even perhaps mention the poet. And who is that very odd person sitting next to you?
My accompanist
Oh, it's
is
your pianist.
Tong Yao Li.
Ah,
Yes.
they're very sensitive about that. I would introduce them always. No,
Okay.
seriously, start over.
Okay.
You, her, it, who did it, thank you.
Hello, I am Shalane Hughes, and I will be singing The Lake Isle of Innisfree by Ben Moore, poetry by William Yeats. And this here is my wonderful accompanist, Tong Yao Li.
Only use the adjective to her if you mean it.
I do mean it. She's wonderful.
I get that, but I'm just
She's
saying, in general, we see through that.
She's amazing.
All right, sorry, I won't interrupt. We're going to hear this song in its entirety because nobody knows it.
Okay.
I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 mean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the beloved glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. The midnights all a glimmer, and no
Good. Shalane Hughes, is not that a Gaelic name?
A what?
A Gaelic name? Where are you from?
Bolivia.
Bolivia? Shalane
Yes.
Hughes. Okay, well, Hughes is a very famous poet's name
Yes.
from Ireland, I believe, but never mind. And Shalane, I just met somebody named, that wonderful soprano, and she said Chauvin, spelled Siobhan. Chauvin.
Chauvin.
And it's a Gaelic spelling, and I thought maybe that was it. Fine, wonderful. You love this poem, right?
I do.
Is it a part of a cycle?
It is a part of a cycle. He has all these poems that he put in a, I guess it's not a cycle, he put in a book together that are inspired by folk
All right.
art.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben, well done. You're one of our best. Thank you. Fantastic. Great, beautiful. Now, let's look at this accelerando, ritardando, accelerando, molto ritardando. What's Ben trying to say to us? Since he's not here, we could call him up, I suppose. You know, like deal, no deal. We can call the Joker. Ben, what in the hell were you doing? I think there's a kind of elasticity, right? He wants to get that sort of natural, as if folk melody, as if you were inventing it at the same time it was being played, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the essence here. So don't get too academic. Be free with it. Let it go. I want to encourage you to go on the same path that you are. My feeling, he says about 88. I mean, he's got so many markings that are sort of, come on, be inspired, do it, love it. If you love it, sing it that way. If you love it, sing it that way.
Right.
Fine, convince me. I don't see a lot of hard rules here. I
Right.
see this wonderful poem by one of the great poets of the English language,
Yes.
right? And then I see 88, which he says 80. To me, you guys are a little under tempo. I mean, we could get
Okay.
out one of those horrible things and count it. My feeling is that you're well under 88. And my real problem is not that. It's just that I think he wants to even though there's a comma in the phrase, I think if we don't hear, I will arise and go now and go to the Innisfree,
Right.
we're not, and we need to understand that it's not the free Innis.
Right.
It's a
Right.
place called Innisfree,
Innisfree. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
All right, and do you know where that is?
Yes, it's a lake called Low Gill in Ireland.
Okay, and what is the Innisfree?
The Innisfree is the island.
Is the island itself sitting in the middle of this lake? Well, that's where, if it's
yes,
an island,
yes,
it must be.
in the middle of the lake.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what islands do.
Yes.
Great. So Innisfree is the island around water.
Around
What do you
water.
suppose the metaphor is here?
Well, the poet used to go every summer to this place, and he was inspired by the place to write this. It seems to me, at the very end, he talks about being in the paved streets and in the middle of grey, meaning that he did actually live in London, so he was in the city most of the time, and so I think that all of this reflects his happy place, which is the Lake Isle of Innisfree.
The
And
Nirvana, maybe?
yeah, a place that we all
Done.
have. Yeah.
Done. You're done. We don't have to cook it anymore. A 4-minute egg is a 4-minute egg. And this is a 4-minute egg. I will arise and go now, and always night and day I hear lake water lapping and low sounds by the shore while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement grey in London waiting for the train or the bus or whatever else. Where I want to be is Innisfree.
Right.
Right? Folk poetry, wonderful. You know what it is? It's Lindenbaum. Right? It's folk music. It's
Yeah.
folk poetry, which
Right.
is always about the essence of who we are.
Right.
One of them, don't misunderstand folk poetry. Folk poetry is not some Ur person sitting in an Ur forest under an Ur tree giving the Ur utterances of the Ur Mensch or the Ur person, if you know what I mean by Ur being original. That's not what folk poetry is. That wasn't the call to understand folk poetry at the end of the 18th century by by Johann Herder, who was the teacher of Goethe, and they inspired these two guys to go out, Clemens von Brentano and Achim von Arnim, and collect Das Genamen Wunderhorn. It was the next wave of folk poetry that went over the 19th century. And then at the end of the 19th century, Cecil Sharp went out, and they started collecting, and it became this incredible mania across, especially at the turn of the previous century, as we call the fin du siècle, the end of the 19th century and the 20th century. There was just this obsession of poets and especially composers to find that stuff that you could define as the essence of any particular culture. And they thought they would find that in folk poetry or in folk music. Dvorak was so obsessed with this idea that he actually wrote that Americans should be more obsessed with African American originality of music as well as American Indians. And most of the schooled composers and certainly conductors of that time threw him out of the country, essentially drove him out. They refused to believe this. That was absolutely out of the question. It's an artifact that we create. So all these tensions are inside of this.
Right.
What is all the purpose of my going on about this other than to just, what I'm doing is I'm just offering you another piece of baggage to take with you on this trip, right? The more we can know, the more will simply seep in from our unconsciousness, right? And you're absolutely, I want to reinforce, the Innisfree is this island in the middle of the lake. The lake is life and fulfillment, which is hearing and writing and breathing and loving, is his place. And that's where he wants to go. And that's what he carries with him all of his life, regardless of where he is. And it simply has been put to us in the most magical form of poetry by one of the great magical poets, William Butler Yeats. Let's try it again.
Okay.
Give me the first couple of phrases. Just tell me the story.
Okay.
Now, to tell the story, going technically, just sing the vowels, vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel, even this kind of thing.
Okay.
The wonderful thing about working on songs that I think is directly related to working on anything from stage is in what relationship does imagination, reality, and sound live with one another? In other words, are we creating sounds that are immediately connected to our heartbeat at that moment, or are we painting a larger picture of a context of a story? I just described it, the last one, opera. In song, we don't, but it all starts with a heartbeat. It all starts with a, gee, I feel like this. Whether it's, keep us on your head, or I want to go to Innisfree, right? It starts with a, and when we sing, we've already been handed that. So we imagine ourselves in that. And that's where all of this music language comes from and all this structure. And I need to hear, I will arise and go. I need to hear that motion.
Yeah.
Where? Now. Oh, okay. What? I'm going to go. Where's she going to go? To Innisfree. Where's Innisfree? Right?
Okay.
Take us on that story. Start
Okay.
again. Yeah. Is that, if what do you like to play the most? Tchaikovsky? Chopin? Do you play Chopin?
Not so much.
Do you play, what do you play that just has sort of emotion all over it? What composer?
Ravel.
Ravel. Play me the first three notes like they were Ravel.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Ben says with great expression, parentheses. He doesn't even give it a tempo marking. And already in the first bar he says accelerando. But the first two notes are piano. I need to call Ben. What are you doing? This is fantastic stuff. You know? Da-da-dee, 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 da-da-dee. Do it. It's yours. Make it yours. Tell us a story. Yeah, one more time. Make sure everything stays melodic. So we know ya-da-dum, da-dee-dee, da-da-dum, da-da-dee, 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 da-da-da. You know, keep it all melodic. No phrasing off.
Okay.
And don't, accelerando just means move forward. It's not, you're not going anywhere yet. Great expression. Bravo. Da-dee-da-da-dee-da, ya-da-dee, ya-da-dee, ya-da-dee-da-da. Ba-dee-ba-ba. Stop. The song is over. It's over. It's done. It's a fantastic song. Well done, Ben. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have what brought all that on. Yeats.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Measure before she sings. Rim-ba-dee-da-dee.
I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree.
Right, since I was mumbling on, did you breathe again?
No.
You didn't? So much better. Do it again. I'll pay attention this time. Beautiful melody. My goodness me.
I will
if you just had more of the feeling that you were really honestly keeping that inhaling feeling, I think you'd feel happier about it.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be a management of breath kind of thing. It would
Yeah.
just go and be, you have to believe in this word Innisfree. And I think we need to understand, because if I hear, to, I don't know where we are.
Right.
To Innisfree. I'm afraid you need to give us the signpost, you know, left to Innisfree, right to Dublin, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Beautiful first phrase, but also let it go. I will wanna go, dee, go, wee. Right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Keep the inhaling feeling.
Okay.
One more time. Body, body.
I will arise and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee.
You got an awful lot of wonderful sort of descending expressions, right?
Yeah.
And notes, and there's pretty much a fifth apart from one another. That's fine. But the resonance at the top of the phrase is in the resonance of where you're going to go. That's all.
Okay.
It's like trading the weight of a bridge or something like that. Don't make such a meal out of it, but
Okay.
keep it in the same place. What I still feel is when I tell you I want you to keep that inhaling feel. I'd like to see, and I really literally mean this. We should see in singing something we don't see in speaking. In speaking, you haven't really noticed me take a breath. In singing, you will. There should be a preparation. A body says, my body does this, and you take in a breath, and you make a decision to disturb silence with a language called music. I have to hear it before I breathe into it, right? And I have a different, you're good God, you're just born for singing. Look at this, it's fantastic. As I say, sing the cheekbones,
Okay.
right? Just keep those up, exactly. Not this way, right? Keep this exactly like you do. Keep that wonderful inside smile, let your lips participate, but that's not what I'm thinking of. What I'm thinking of here is that I feel like a little bit more like a tube of toothpaste. And it would be really nice if we wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is an athletic proposition. That's
Okay.
going to the gym, that's
Right.
riding the bike, it's, you know, it's those muscles
Right.
are
They're-
iron, right?
Okay.
And if I may?
Yeah, I just
right?
have the microphone thing on my
Oh,
back,
yeah,
but that's
right.
fine.
I thought you were just gleaming. Exactly. Right. For me too. This is how I teach. What you want is to stand up straight enough so your spine is so straight that all of this is expanding,
Right.
right? And we actually take in the breath as quiet as we can. We can take in quite a bit of breath quite quickly if we've balanced the inhaling, and we just keep that. I will go.
Okay.
I will go. And I feel like a lot of your breath, the problem is that a lot of your breath comes up and it makes something vibrate, but you're speaking on it. You're speaking in
Right.
pitch.
Right.
If you were to sing the Puccini, I'm sure it'd be different. And I want you to sing this like the Puccini, but just have everything closer, intent, sound, and breath
Okay.
than we would in opera,
Right.
Puccini. It's the
Right.
same thing.
Okay.
If you can't sing, it's not two different Fachs, ladies and gentlemen. It's not two different things. Singing is singing is singing is singing, right? It's fantastic. Especially in our classical world, in this repertoire, we don't take the stuff out of our voice because we're going to sing the song, right?
Okay.
Absolutely the opposite, right? You're on a great path. Let's go to the second verse. 9 bean rows, and 9 bean rows will I have there, isn't perhaps the most enlightened sentence of the poem. It's what gives us the folk idiom. It gives us a sort of accessibility to it. It's like the guy that comes into a very wonderfully highfalutin party in his jeans, you know? And that's fine. I have for the honeybee. But there's a wonderful casualness. You need to enjoy that. If you enjoy it, we'll enjoy it.
Okay.
And live alone. Where? In the bee land. Oh, isn't that cute? What a clever guy. He must be a folk poet. You know what? Sorry. Give me. Sorry. Fantastic. It's like Tiger Woods starting in the back of his wing. Why don't we start on the measure she just sang with Maid, and she can take a nice breath into 9 bean rows. I love bean rows.
9 bean rows.
You're late. for one time, you're not actually singing. Ya-da-dee-da. You're joining, and she plays Bamba Nine Bean Rose. Surprises.
Okay.
Maid. Nine Bean Rose.
Rose will I
Have
have there, a hive for the honey bee.
Okay, now, you agreed with me that those are not the most important sentences in the English language, order? You know, so have fun with them. We don't have to have them sung of the nine bean rose and the bee hive, and I'm going down to the bee hive.
Okay.
Let your voice be the tool of your expression,
Okay.
of your imagination.
Okay.
I don't believe in building voices. I don't believe in training voices. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in singers. I believe in human beings that convey to one another and make possible the celebration of the human spirit in a language called music, inspired by words. And every voice should be as unique as the fingerprint on a hand. I'm not interested in Fach. I'm not interested in types. I'm not interested in timbre. So, you might not want to invite me back. Right? I don't fit. Right? Be you. And let everything else take care of itself. And you've got this. I wouldn't pound on it if I didn't think you had that. I know I want to hear the I want to hear that in this phrase. One more time. Maid. Da-dee-da-da.
Nine bean rose will I have there, a hive for the honey bee.
Punchline. Yeah, here comes the punchline. Sorry. Go ahead. Lovely bee. Bee-da-dee-da.
And live alone in the beloud glade.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it's a good path. Just be careful that when you sing like that, when the singing attempt becomes so obvious, the energy of the expression falls out.
Okay.
You're not keeping me in that story. Now you're starting to work on your voice,
okay,
right?
yeah.
Especially when you get into the middle part of your voice, you start thinking, one, either it's comfortable or that's not quite, it feels funny. I'd rather be up there,
Okay.
right? That's not fair.
Okay.
You have to take me with you, right?
Okay.
Just one more time. I live, the measure she sings, she just sung,
And
honey bee, bee, I live.
Live alone in the beloud glade.
Yeah, now just to information, if Glade had the same house of resonance as Beeland did, Beeland, I hear gray, I hear spoken.
Yeah.
If Beeland gray,
Okay.
then I have your voice the whole
Right.
time. One more time.
Okay.
And live alone.
That's spoken. And live. Don't tell us your heart story. Don't speak. Sing. And live.
Live alone in the beloud glade.
Yes. Well done. Dee-da-dee-da-da-dee. The most beautiful thing you've ever heard in your life.
I will arise and go now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That was
I would breathe, but I just wouldn't stop it. Peace there, peace there cometh for
Right. Yeah.
right? For peace comes deep, being slow.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful melody, you know. Darren, you need to listen to more Celtic music, and then you'll know where all this stuff is coming from.
Yes.
You know, it comes from the heart, lass. It's an island it's an island in the lake. It's not brain surgery. Interlude, please, with heart, Ravel.
And I shall
Okay,
have
this is the thing I want to show you. Wonderful. Love your heels. Just don't get distracted by them. Right? Stay back on them. Right?
Yes.
What I hear all the time is this tendency. I just want to make you aware of it so you can work on it. And it's this: breathe, and it seems very expressive. You know what you want to do, but in fact, it's speaking.
Okay.
And what I want to hear is you take your breath. your body straightens because that's what your body wants to do,
Right.
to be available to your expression. I'm going to hear, instead of, and whatever I'm going to sing, I'm going to hear a singing. And now I'll sing this phrase because it's in the music and
Yeah.
not because it's importing or giving me words.
Okay.
Song singing is not pitched text. That's not what any singing is, and certainly not song singing. One more time, right there.
Yeah.
Just the measure before she comes in. And I shall have some peace.
And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow.
We're going to have to stop here, but have a look. Two things that we're going to have to be careful. He says a tempo. The thing is, if you completely slow down, I want to allow you freedom, and it has to come from your heart. But if you go to such a new place there at that tempo, it becomes sentimental.
Right.
And the sentimentality, if it's implied, or melancholy, or whatever that is, should be ours, listening,
Right.
not you.
Yeah.
In fact, this is very self-understood. And something as overtly emotional and expressive as this is, as
Yeah.
the tune is, and so forth, you want to stay off of it.
Right.
Let us go there.
Right.
A soprano that cries during Visidarte is not going to stay in the business very long,
Right.
right? We should weep to the point that we disturb the orchestra. You know, I mean, that's already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that requires a hot heart and a cold head,
Yes.
right? And that's what you want to do. But all of a sudden, keep the same tempo. And I shall have some peace there, for peace, da-dee-da-da.
Okay.
I don't mean to rush it, but just not load it,
Not
right?
drag it. Okay.
And Ben's done all that. We're gaining musical elements, aren't we?
Right.
You know, it was simple, and now we're getting things. I think there's a whole story of rhythmic subtlety here
Yeah.
between the dotted eighth and the 16th note, the 16th note pickups, the eighth note pickups, which is his great impression, which are quite lyric with it, versus the eighth note with the dotted eighth note pickup, you know, and inside the phrase. And where he doesn't want you to do it, like you did this wonderful Gaelic thing that is to where the cricket sings the midnight's all glimmer. That's all, and a purple glow. If he hasn't handed it to you, modern composers are very specific about that sort of thing. And those musical elements very often tell the inside story of what the poem is,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful start, sweetheart. I appreciate it very much. Lovely.
Okay. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
I know I just did something to become quite allergic to in this country, and probably rightly so. I sat here and very endearingly looking at a young colleague of mine said, sweetheart. If it makes me feel any better, sweetheart is an inexchangeable gender. So, sweetheart, please come in here.
Hello, my name is Joseph Tancredi. This is my amazing pianist, Andrew King. And today we will be performing Cecilia by Richard Strauss. Sorry.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was träumen heißt, von brennenden Küssen, von Wandern und Ruhen, mit der Geliebten, Aug in Auge, und kosend und plaudernd. Wenn du es wüsstest, du neigtest dein Herz. Wenn du es wüsstest, was Bangen heißt, in einsamen Nächten, umschauert vom Sturm, da niemand tröstet milden Mundes die kampfmüde Seele. Wenn du es wüsstest, du kämest zu mir. Wenn du es wüsstest, was Leben heißt,
Emporlicht getragen zur seligen Hen. Wenn du es wüsstest, du lebtest mit mir.
All right. Andrew King, come on down. Wonderful. Where are you from?
Long Island.
Long Island?
Long Island, yeah,
Long
sorry.
Island.
Yeah.
Oh, the Long Island.
Right.
Right, okay. Born and raised out there.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And now you're studying here. How long have you been here?
This is my 4th year
Good for
undergraduate.
you. How old are you?
21.
What?
21.
Well, how could you be here for 4 years? This is your 4th year?
This is my 4th undergraduate year.
Oh, 4th undergraduate
Yeah.
year. And you're 21?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. I know your teacher. He's
Yeah.
damn good.
Yeah.
Is Warren, are you still here? Do you remember dragging me kicking and screaming through Ariadne? No. You're a discreet, loving human being. Way back in the day, learning Harlequin for the first time. Oh my God. All right, look. The thing is, let's use our minutes here to just, because you're on a great path. I mean, you're going to find these notes. Did you hear? You were back in the back. Did you hear me talk about the voice? Did you ever talk about the top of the voice?
Yeah.
A little bit, that
Yeah.
vowel?
Yes.
And that every voice, that's that neutrality up at the top? Trust that.
Okay.
You're going there instinctually,
Right.
And the nice thing about that space up there, folks, don't get confused about, I mean, if you look at any book on phonology and you look at any, you can Google it, you can do whatever you want. If you, I'm trying to think what book I just remember seeing it in. You know, a spectrograph of what, if they cut your head like this and you saw the openings of your throat in different vowels, right? The oo vowel and the e vowel are the most open-throated, right? Now, everybody would buy that an oo vowel, well, that makes sense. Well, ooh, yeah, I get it, ooh. But everybody goes e, oh Lord. Especially women getting up in the middle of their voice and they hit an e and it goes, and everything starts going wide and lift and oh my God, I can't get up there, and right? The oo, but everybody kind of does that.
Right.
It's the oo and the e are the same vowel. The e is the front side of it.
Okay.
So what you were doing as you instinctively started to go up the scale, especially the last verse, just by nature, is right. Don't mess with that.
Okay.
What also happened is that wonderful, it's not a funny, that wonderful mixed vowel in German. The mixed vowels, ü, and ü, are fantastic vocal tools. We think they're, oh, I gotta learn how to do that. No, learning how to do it will free up your voice because what they are, mixed vowels are a principal vowel meaning the vowel is resonating in your throat, right? That is formed, that keeps staying while you form it in a different mouth formation, which gives us immediately, you can see what I'm doing right here, that feeling of an inverted megaphone, right? That's the position of our singing, period, full stop, always. Whatever it is, it's this way, right?
Yeah.
And you're starting to do that. So interesting that the wüstet, all those mixed u, which is the tightest one, is actually the most interesting because everybody thinks the u is the most closed,
Right.
but actually it's built from the two places your throat is the most open. So there's a wonderful, what you could do with Warren, there's a wonderful exercise that I used to do with my teacher Horst, and I think might have got it from Schwarzkopf, but just on a simple audio, just Blüten, which means to bloom, and Schönheit, which means beauty, right? And you have Blüten, Schönheit, which is, but it's going to be Blüten, Schönheit. And when you can do that, so that nothing moves and the resonance stays the same, then you'll start feeling more comfortable with these mixed vowels. But the oo, e at the beginning, wenn du es wüsstest, you're trying to get buzz on the lips. The e is collapsed, and you've shoved the oo in your lips. I believe that I believe, I know, and that's why I believe. I don't believe anything I don't know. I'm into empirical evidence. I think it's great. I believe in climate change, right? And I know there's idiots walking around Washington, D.C., sorry, I'm online, but never mind, today saying, it's a snowstorm, it's 50 below in Chicago, so much for global warming. Yes, weather can change. Climate isn't, right? Never mind. What has that got to do with singing? Actually, everything. Go with me. The ooh that you want to sing that has all that resonance and length in it, right? Ooh, the top of the ooh is going to be the ah. Ooh, all you're going to sing is the ooh in the middle of your head. I don't think we take a breath, vibrate something, and throw it against a vibrating surface. I think that's a very negative way to think of our singing. I think it's more vertical and more elastic and more spinning. So I want to keep the spin in my voice. I want to keep the elasticity of it as much as I possibly can. And so I want to keep that ooh through the whole voice. Ooh. Has nothing to do with my lips. But what I do is then I get to the E and I decide to say E through my lips and leave the ooh behind, and I've got both long cylinders vibrating parallel behind my lips, and it becomes ooh. And I don't ever let the E collapse, right? Hell of a lot more difficult at the beginning of the song than the last part of the song. Your Rosetta Stone, in my opinion, for this song is actually the last 2 pages. Most people sweat bullets in whatever key they're singing. Oh my God, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, no, please, no. Right? You are just waiting to get where you want to live.
Right.
Yeah? I love it. I love it. And that's the abandon of the song. This is not brain surgery. This is a love poem of abandoned emotion, of an already consecrated, in every sense of the word, relationship.
Right. And
how do you tell someone for the umpteenth time, I love you? If you only understood that every breath I take, every fiber of my body, every imagination is only, if you only could understand, if you would only understand, wenn du es wüsstest, wenn du nur wüsstest, when you just could understand, it's you that makes me live. That's the song.
Right.
Done, right?
Yeah.
Inside of wonderful colored vowels, right? Keep the lift and let it be vibrating down here. Don't put it down there.
Okay.
So, try again.
Sure.
Do not accompany. I hear 3 phrases. I hear ba, ba, da, 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 dee, right? Where do you think John Williams gets his melodies? You know, this is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Don't apologize in the second part. Ya da di da 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 di ya da, right? Yeah. Now you can breathe in that. I'm sorry, now you can breathe in that, right? It's you guys are going to trade this 4-bar motion all the way up. And every once in a while you're going to put the rhythm off on the left foot. But that's essentially the power of we need to hear in the first beat that the second one's coming, and it's part of an 8-bar phrase that's being, you know yet? Breathe.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was träumen heißt, von brennenden Kissen, von Wandern und Ruhen mit der Geliebten, Aug in Auge.
Okay, chase resonance and not words.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, don't worry, the text will take care of itself. Sing everything. Let the vowels lead you and connect them with the consonants. Wenn du es wüsstest, was träumen heißt, was träumen heißt. Right? It's an ava. Träumen heißt, whatever the words are, right?
Yeah.
I've forgotten them. Right? Just keep the vowel moving and being propelled and connected by all the consonants, right? Don't stop your voice.
Okay.
And God, certainly not in the name of diction.
Yes.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was träumen heißt, von brennenden Küssen, von Wandern und Ruhen mit der Geliebten, Aug in Auge.
Good. It's a great start. Now, just think. I want to give you simple thoughts. It's wonderful, not because you're simple, but just we don't have time to think about this stuff, right? But if the floor of the mouth is the bottom of the vowel, where's the vowel going to get its energy and become the vowel? It's going to go up. It's going to go up, right? Which means if this is the bottom of an O or an R or an A, where's the bulk of the lines that are, or the bulk of the shape that's going to show us what vowel it is? It's up in this region, isn't it? This is where you want to sing.
Right.
Boop, boop, boop.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Hermann Prey used to say when he felt really in it, he felt like he had a coal miner's cap. And his voice was just this, thing up here. I love the idea, just get it out of your throat. You're not so in your throat, but I feel that the resonance kind of messes around. Okay. This is your house of resonance.
Right.
And the vowels are because of the words and actually because of the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was träumen hat. It's all release, right? And you started it. Let's go on from there. Just wanted to have you think of that.
Yeah.
That all of the air is blooming. The shape of all the vowels are kind of like an egg shape, right? So just put an egg on its head. And if it starts to go on its side, tip it back up. Right. All right? And just keep all that wee stuff going on, blah, blah, because all this song is about preparing for 3 bars or 3 pages until you can really have the song. This was this wonderful Strauss lighter moment. Go on. Do the second verse. Kosend und plaudern, wenn du es wüsstest, du neigtest dein Herz. Go to the next verse.
Okay.
Just add a Herz. The theme comes back. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was bangen heißt.
And that A-N-G is your best friend, especially in the middle of your voice.
Okay.
Was bang. Hanga, hanga, hanga. Hanga, hanga, hanga. Donga, 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 donga. Dong with the day. And does my mouth move?
Yeah.
Donga, donga, donga. It's not about holding my jaw. It's because all I'm doing is just touching that NG spot.
Right.
Donga, 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 donga.
Sorry.
Donga, 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 donga. 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 Dong, 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 dong. I'll sing right there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was bangen heißt, in einsamen Nächten, umschaut vom Sturm, da niemand fristet milden Mundes die kampfmüde Seele. Wenn du es wüsstest, du kämest zu mir.
Exactly that. It's on the teeth, but it's got the space and all that, because that's the only bits, that's sort of the B section of all the, oh, I'm so tortured unless I'm with you kind of stuff.
Right.
Because what we all want to hear is, kämest zu mir, right?
Yeah.
Go on.
Wenn du es wüsstest, was Leben heißt, umhaucht von der Gottheit, weltschaffendem Atem.
What are you talking about right now?
The world's creator's breath, God's breath.
How about just creation,
Creation, yeah.
you know? And the Creator and I are one at this moment, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Okay,
Tell us that story.
sure.
Umhaucht von der Gottheit. Boy, it's high.
Umhaucht von der Gottheit, weltschaffendem Atem.
fast, son. Very fast. Wonderful. What an afternoon. Thank you very much. Great, great, great. Great, great, great. We're down on time. We're going to have a little bit of juicies with some folks that help us make this possible. And I'm going to run down to the Met. And we all want to wish Luca Pizzaroni his debut as Don Giovanni, first time in his life. He sung, I don't know how many Leporellos, but now he is Don Giovanni at the Metropolitan tonight. Very exciting. 7:30. Why am I telling you that? Go get a ticket. Standing room. Do whatever you want. Anyway, it's been a great afternoon. It's wonderful to be back home. Yes, I should be here more often. I wish we will do this. It's great. Wonderful singing. Bye. Great.